Welcome back YouTube, it's Robert Hall, and in today's video we're going to talk about the new round head that's available for the Godox AD200 and Flashpoint Evolv 200. So I got my demo unit of the new round head for the Godox AD200 about a week ago. I will say after a week of testing that I'm actually really excited about this thing. First off, the shape, it's a little bit bigger than either the bare bulb or the Fresnel head on the AD200. It does still fit in a Bowens S-mount bracket. No, you cannot put it through the S-mount bracket, but you can just put the body of the AD200 into the S bracket and then attach the round head through the front. And it does not block any Bowens S-mount modifiers from attaching to the S bracket in the front. And you can't see it behind this diffusion cap, but there is a helical bulb, so very similar to the bulb that is inside the bare bulb, except it is sideways, and then the whole rest of the unit is with a small LED in the back. Like the Fresnel head, the LED has 3 stages of brightness, although none of them are going to be very useful for a modeling application. The more exciting part of this kit is all of the magnetic accessories that you can buy separately. The round head itself is $69, whereas the accessory kit is going to be $50. So all in all, you'd be looking at $120 for one full setup. Real quick, let's go through each of the modifiers. First, there is the honeycomb grid. This is going to restrict spill and narrow your pattern of light, and if you stack them on top of each other, you will continue to restrict the pattern of light to a more and more narrow beam. I was worried about this bounce card because in the pictures they showed it with the grid on it, but it's completely 2 separate pieces. So you've got a bounce card that is black on one side and white on the other, clips into its own little adapter. You can use the black side to restrict the light from going into a certain direction, or you can use the white side to bounce light into any direction you'd like, which would be great if you were using it outdoors and you didn't have a ceiling but you still wanted to bounce some light. Next is the wide angle diffuser. This is exactly the same thing that you would find on the top of a speedlight. All it does is scatter the light into a wider pattern so that it has more area of coverage. Then there is a round head. This round head will create a more omnidirectional light source. It's basically going to fill the bulb and then disperse it into a wider pattern. This is great if you want to use it inside of a softbox. That way you maximize the amount of light that you bounce off the walls of a modifier. Next is a gel holder, and they have a few gels for it. I believe it's going to ship with a full, half, quarter CTO as well as a green for correcting fluorescent lighting. I regularly use at least 10 different gels, so I need to see a more diverse gel set, even if it's sold separately for those who need it. And just like other magnetic applications, these are stackable, so you're not restricted to just a gel. You could gel it and then grid it and then put it through a dome. You can do this infinitely. One really nice thing is that the round dome will go into the bounce card just like that, which this would be a pretty common event setup. They also have a barn door, but it did not come in my demo unit, but they will ship with a barn door setup. You guys know what barn doors are. It's 4 flags that you can kind of control where the light's going to spill out to. The last piece to this equation is the snoot. It has different stages. The farther you pull it out, the more it'll narrow that beam of light. And this is not magnetic. This one just kind of goes right around the head, or it goes around any of the other discs if you want to put it on top of, say, a grid to narrow it even further. Now, I'll be honest, I'd like to see a longer snoot with a more narrow opening, because this isn't going to do much different than the grid, so I just would like to see them get a little bit more aggressive with this snoot design. So traditionally you would use a bare bulb inside of a softbox or a beauty dish, any of those type of modifiers. That way you can maximize the amount of light that is bouncing off the walls before it exits the front diffusion. But gelling a bare bulb is a pain in the ass, so it's hard to ignore how easy it would be to gel inside of a softbox by just opening up that front panel and slapping this on, closing it. So I wanted to see the difference between using the bare bulb inside of a softbox and using this, so I took some test images just so I could see if I would actually use this for my own work. Using the round head instead of the bare bulb will create a tiny bit more specularity, but it does not affect the shape of light or the relative softness at all. And once you add the dome diffuser, then it's pretty much negligible difference. Like, I could barely pick it out. And honestly, if I put these 2 images in front of you, you probably can't pick out which one is which. Of course, that brings up one question, and that's how does this affect the output of the light? Because we like those AD200s because they are so powerful in such a small package. Do we end up losing any of that light? In a single diffuse softbox, the Glow Parapop, the round head actually puts out 0.2 stops more light than the bare bulb. However, once you put the dome diffuser on, you lose 0.2 stops of light compared to the bare bulb. So this dome diffuser knocks out almost a half stop of light. And if you're thinking maybe I would just use the wide angle diffuser on the inside of the softbox, that actually loses the most light. It is like 0.9 stops less than using the bare bulb. So this means that the dome is the most efficient way to use this and still get as much omnidirectional light as possible. So after all this, what are my final thoughts? I absolutely love this thing, and I plan to use it on all 3 of my AD200s. This just further simplifies my off-camera needs because I would be using the same head for my larger applications inside of a softbox by just adding this on, and for harder applications I would use things like the grid, but I'm not switching heads. I don't have to sit there and finagle with that all day. And if you're using it bare, it's better than both the bare bulb head inside a reflector or the Fresnel head. It's just a way more even pattern of light because of this diffusion panel. However, Godox, I'm going to need you guys to expand that gel kit. 3 gels is just not enough for all applications. But even if Godox doesn't release more gels, I'll find another solution. I also hope they release a speedlight and an AD200 with this style of head that can use all these same modifiers, just so my compact modifiers will apply to all of my different lights that I use for location work. I'll be following this video up with a comparison to the MagMod lineup, essentially this head plus all their modifiers versus the Fresnel head using MagMod modifiers. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, comment below with any questions, subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos, and until next time, keep on shooting, YouTube.